welcome back. Another Spinato spin. So great to have you here. Springtime's rolling along. Before you know, we'll be in the middle of summertime and a lot of things going on, a lot more opportunities. Go out, get in front of people, talk to people. You know, a lot of what goes on in life is kind of how you frame it. You ever hear that? Well, I don't have the right frame of mind. I'm not really thinking the right way right now, or I'm not sure. Well, here's something to think about. Real simple. Whatever you're looking at, what's usually going to determine your attitude towards that is the frame you put around it. For instance, if you went to a party and you were in one part of the party, there's a lot of things going on at a party, right? A lot of things going on, a lot of different conversations, a lot of people talking about stuff, showing people things, all that going on, right? Well, what's the frame you put around that party? What does that party mean to you? Well, what it means is whatever you focused on while you were there. You know, somebody said to me, he said, well, how can you eat a vegan diet? How do you do that? I thought about that, and then I did a little research on it. You know what it is? It's my frame of reference, my frame of mind when it comes to certain foods. All my life, I ate one type of food. Then I looked at it, and I said, you know what? Heart, mind, body, soul, it's not that great for me. I looked at it from the standpoint of I didn't need it. I cut it out. I shaved it right down. I said, what do I want certain foods for? Do I want it for taste? Do I want it because it's nourishing? Do I want it because it makes me feel happy? I mean, what do you really want food for? The way I understand it, it's just to sustain yourself. See, that's my frame of reference. That's how I'm able to eat a vegan diet. You know, I ate fish, I ate chicken, I ate meat all my life. I ate all kinds of fattening things. I don't even eat fried foods. Why? It's all my frame of reference. Now, this brings us to some real big stuff now, okay? That's just a little preamble to what we're talking about. Your frame of reference will determine, in the long run, how you feel about things, because it's what you're going to focus on. And then more importantly, it's not what you focus on, it's what you feel about what you focus on. See, that's going to determine a lot of things. And one of the biggest impacts, been doing a little research on a great book that's out there. I don't know, we got a frame of reference up there, frame of mind? There it is, frame of mind. It's how we think, what keeps us young, or how we view life. That's it. They also call that a paradigm also. Paradigm is the lens you actually look through the world. Ever hear somebody say, oh, he's looking through life and with rosy glasses? Well, rosy glasses means that things look good. That happens a lot when you work out. You get a rosier approach to what's going on in the world after you're done working out. Take it from me. I work out every day, and I know how that feels. But the bottom line is, when you're talking about what's going to happen with your life and how things are going to evolve, it is going to be that frame of reference. It is going to be that frame of mind. It's going to be the way you bring it to the party. It's going to be what you look at. Now, here's something real powerful. I was talking about Napoleon Hill before I got rudely interrupted. But anyway, talking about Napoleon Hill, and here's one of the things he did. He did a study based on the advice or the instruction or the commission of the most wealthiest person in the world. In today's dollars, he would have been like a Bill Gates. You know, have you ever asked yourself, how does a Bill Gates become a Bill Gates? How does a Steve Jobs become a Steve Jobs? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever wondered why they're way ahead and a lot of people are left behind? What is it? Well, I'll give you a clue. They thought and they grew rich. See, rich doesn't mean you have a lot of money. Rich means whatever you consider to be of value. Can you think yourself into that product of value or into that life of value? That's what Think and Grow Rich is all about. So Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world, hires a guy by the name of Napoleon Hill to find out what is the common denominator that makes people make it and have what they want or wind up not having what they want, not fulfilling their life's dreams. And one of the first things he came up with, and it's real simple, you probably have it right on the tip of your tongue, you're ready to say it right out there. Definiteness of purpose. In other words, let me tell you a quick story before I get into definite of purpose. We all kind of have an idea what that means. Let me illustrate this a little bit better for you. Years ago, many years ago, there was this great king. And this king controlled the land, controlled the country. He had a tremendous amount of land, rich and fertile. He had a tremendous amount of money. He was wealthy beyond anyone's wildest dreams. And he also had a beautiful daughter. But the one thing he didn't have, he had no male, no son, no one to pass on his kingdom to or his riches to when his time from this earth was gone. So what he did was he decided to run a test. He thought he would test the best young men in the area to see if they were worthy of having his kingdom, all of his land and all the possessions that are on his land, his wealth, his money, or the hand in marriage of his beautiful daughter, who was heir to his money when he passes. So he brought all these men together, all these young men together, and he put them in front of a pool. And he said, the one who could swim across the pool the fastest and reach the other side shall have their choice of my daughter's hand in marriage, which, as you know, she has an heir to all that I own, which is the land and the wealth beyond anyone's wildest dreams. But, you're following the story? You still with me? No one fell asleep? In this pool, he loaded it with scorpions, water moccasins, deadliest snakes you can imagine, piranha, alligators, whatever type of infestation you can have in a pool to make it very difficult to get to the other side. So he brought these young men together, and they stood in front of the pool, and they looked around, they looked at each other, and as the king began to speak to let them know what was at stake and what they can have, a splash landed. A body landed in the water. And no sooner than the next 5 seconds gone by, a young man came popping out of the water on the other end of the pool. And everyone was totally amazed that a person was able to get across that pool that fast. And the king went over to him and said, young man, that was incredibly courageous and a magnificent display of courage and absolute athleticism we've ever seen. Now, as you know, you may have the choice of which you want. And please let me know which one you want. You can have my land, which is fertile, all of the land that I have. Or you can have my money, all the wealth I possess right now. Or you can have the hand of my beautiful daughter in marriage. And as you know, she is heir to all that I have. Now understand this, folks. This gets back to the story of definiteness of purpose. So, young man, what do you want? And the young man wiped some water off his face. He looked up at the king. He says, all I want to know is the name of the guy who pushed me in the pool. You see the moral of the story here, folks? Do you understand? Did he know what he wanted? You got to know what you want, right? You got to know what you want. Definiteness of purpose is everything. That's what guides you. That's what sends you on your journey. That's what makes you stronger, makes you more attractive to what you really want in life. Definiteness of purpose is what Napoleon Hill said was the first key ingredient He also said another thing which was very, very powerful. He said you don't not only wish to have something, you have to have a white, hot, burning desire to acquire the thing that which you seek. Now, what does that mean, a white hot? Somebody asked him. Somebody out there, okay. Somebody out there is asking, what exactly is a white hot burning desire? You know, son, that makes me get the feeling that you don't have a white hot burning desire to get anything right now, do you? Otherwise, you wouldn't ask what it is. It's everything, folks. It puts you right in the groove of what you want. Now, it has to happen also, Napoleon Hill pointed out. Not only do you have to have a sense of purpose, a definiteness of purpose, you have to have a hot desire to get it. You have to come up with a plan on how to get it. You got to come up with an absolute plan that's ironclad, that you believe totally that'll work for you. The plan has to be foolproof. You have to test it over and over, and you are going to be tested on how well it works. Not only does that have to be sound, you have to start thinking about it night and day. You have to start understanding that this is going to happen for you. You have to have a picture. They call it a clear, concise mental picture of what it is that you seek. You've got to throw yourself into the moment. You've got to throw yourself into already achieving your goal, already achieving and earning the possession you fought for. But here's the secret. This is the part where most people just fall off the rails and they can't even get close. You got to decide early on what price you're willing to pay to get it. Everything comes with a price, right? The old saying, tin staffel, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing, folks, as getting something for nothing. And I'm not talking about stealing, and I'm not talking about denying other people of certain things that they want so you can have it. I'm talking about something that if you put in front of God and you put in front of all the good people in the world, they would support it, and they believe in it. See, the concept here is real simple, folks. You've got to have a white-hot burning desire. You've got to have a plan to get it, and you've got to be willing to pay a price to get it. See, Napoleon Hill's right over here. That's a success story right here. We got it right there. Where is it? Oh, yeah, he's coming along. There you go, the law of success. You see, a lot of what Napoleon Hill talks about, and a lot of what he learned from talking to all these great people, they kept saying the same thing over and over. These are not my laws. These are not the laws of man. These are the law of infinite intelligence. This is the way the world works. All that stuff. Let me ask you a question. If you wanted corn, right, what do? You just wish for it and all of a sudden it starts growing in your backyard? No. You got to throw seed down. You got to water it. You got to take care of it. You got to nurture it. Then you'll start getting some corn. It's got to be in a fertile soil. All those factors have to be rolling in the right direction. That's not man's law. That's nature's law. That's part of the infinite intelligence. That's part of the person who created us. Those are the things you have to start focusing on. If you really want something bad. You know, there's an old saying, well, you know, if I don't have enough intelligence and I'm not really sure how to get something done, how am I going to do it? Well, let me ask you this question. If you want something bad enough, you'll figure out a way. They say, what is the mother of invention? Necessity. How were most things invented? People needed to have something to fix something, something to be done. Let me give you a better example. Years ago, when you bought a car, they were built a little different, okay? But what would happen sometimes, from time to time, people would lock their keys in the car. That's interesting. Okay, now the keys are locked in the car. How far can you go if the keys are in the car and you don't have a spare? Not too far. Well, what happened? what did people think of? They wanted it pretty bad. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you drive, and I'm talking to you right now, and you lost your car keys, how much of a panic is that? Somebody out there just said, yeah, it's a huge panic. It's kind of like the only thing you're thinking about for the next 10 minutes until you find those keys. So anyway, how did they get the keys out of the car? It's locked. We have no other way to do it. You know what people did? They took a coat hanger and they slipped it in between the windows. And the way the cars were structured years ago, they had little knobs. And what would happen was they put a little hook on the coat hanger and they pull up on the knob. And they open the door. They unlock the door and they're able to open it and get their keys. Now wait, let me ask, oh, somebody's saying, oh, wait a minute, there was a manual that was written about that when you bought the car. If you ever lock your keys in the car, this is how you get it out. No, that's not right. People thought about it. See, they wanted something badly enough, they figured out a way. So what I'm saying is you got to be willing to go for it. You got to be willing to try. You got to be willing to keep picking yourself up and keep going. If you have a white, hot, burning desire for something, and you can get yourself into that state of mind where you believe you deserve it, and you can fight for it, and you can do something for it, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing. Heaven and earth can't stop you. And once you learn the keys to how to magnetize yourself to get the stuff that you want, you will be an incredibly powerful person. We got one more picture up there. The leader in me. Well, the leader in me does it first, doesn't he? The leader, okay? Nobody ever becomes a leader unless they're a follower first. See, you got to learn how to learn. You got to learn how to be a person that people want to follow. There's a lot of things you have to go through. You got to develop a pleasing personality. You got to set yourself up in such a way where people want to know where you're going. I told this story last week about the guy that people followed out of town when he went walking to the gold mine because he struck gold. And then everyone said, "Well, look at you. You're possessed here. What's going on?" They understood what was going on. He said, "Why all you people follow me?" They said, "Because we know you struck gold, and you're going to walk us right to where the gold is." He goes, "I never told you I struck gold." He said, "You don't have to tell me anything. I can tell, we can see it in your eyes." See, people got to see it in your eyes. People got to know that you know where you're going. There's an old saying, you got to know that you know that you know that you know what you want. That you know that you're going to get it. It's just a matter of time. See, here's one last thing, and I'll leave you with it. Napoleon Hill said, here is the formula for developing what you want, for getting what you want. He said every day, not every other day, every day, at least once or twice a day, you got to sit down and you got to imagine yourself in possession of what you have and what you want. And you got to believe that you have it. It's got to be such a strong, compelling part of you that it can't be separated. You got to believe that in all your heart. You got to have magnificent faith. You got to be walking by faith and not by sight. And you got to just keep saying, this is what I want. I'm willing to offer this service to get what I want, and this is what I want. I was listening to a couple of people talk, and they're millionaires today, millionaires many times over. And you know what they said? Someone asked them a question. They said, what do you regret that's happened today so far? He stood up there. He goes, not much, but I do regret one thing. It's been 4 hours since I looked at my goals. 4 hours since I looked at my goals and saw what I wanted to achieve. The guy is already a millionaire. Already has a lot of what he already wants. But he's still in the habit of thinking and growing rich. He's still in the habit of looking at his goals every 4 hours. I'll leave you with this one quick story, and you can understand the intensity that I'm talking about. Knew a guy who worked in a business I was part of, and he told me about another business he was in before, the jewelry business. And he managed a jewelry store. And the owner of the jewelry business called him every hour to find out if he was on target for hitting his goal for the day. He'd call him up, he'd say, hey, how we doing today? What's going on? It's been 1 hour in. You should be at $1,000 worth of sales. Your goal today is $8,000. You're going to be open 8 hours. So your goal today is, your goal in the first hour is 1,000. Where are you at? Well, I'm getting there. We got a couple of people in the business, in the store right now. We got, this and that. All right, sounds good. Okay, boom. Next hour, that phone call came in again. Where are you at? How close are you getting? Are you at $2,000 yet? Do you realize how intense that is? You realize how a lot of people would have just quit and said, the heck with this guy and the heck with this business. I don't want any part of it. He's going to watch me that close every second? Hey, he became incredibly successful in the business he was in after that. He was one of their best people before he left. Why? Because he took the challenge and wanted to do something special and wanted to make something happen. Folks, it's all right out there. I laid it all out for you. You can pick up the book, Think and Grow Rich. Been around for 1,000,000 years. Napoleon Hill is who you want to follow. Andrew Carnegie is the guy who helped them, direct them to get him where he had to go. But it's great talking to you this week, and I hope you have a super week and enjoy your Memorial Day, and thanks for watching the Spinato Spin. Have a great night now.